The joy of reading books is that you can literally learn about anything in the world. A curated selection at a locally owned bookstore really does prove that, for sure. Tamara Felden is the owner of Artsy Bookworm in Rock Island, and the last time Tamara was here, she told us about all the other things she does there besides books. You have educational toys and yarn,
art, gifts, you name it.
All of that. And well, we wanted to talk books today because you have a lot of topics that really relate to what's going on these days. A lot of people come in and want to learn more about Ukraine and the whole history.
Very much so, very much so. So the moment all of this started happening and we saw on the news here something really important unfolding, we started to purchase books on Ukraine, saying, because what happens is you see something like that, most people say, I'm interested, but I don't really have the background, because we don't think of the history years and years back, right? Who remembers 2014 and what happened? And so people are really eager to learn, to pick up a book and to get a better understanding of how should I think about this, what is happening
there. Which one would you recommend that you have over there? Just to get started, if you were trying to understand this relationship between Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah, I think The Gates of Europe is a really nice one to start with, because it talks about, so what is this country? Why is it so meaningful for us? Why is it so important? Why is it so important to Russia? Why is it so important to Europe and the rest of the world, right? And so, and all of these are written in a way that's very accessible to an interested layperson, so you don't have to be a historian or a scholar on the topic.
Good.
They're the kind of thing you can settle on the sofa with and a cup of tea and say, I'm learning something here as I'm watching history unfold about this part of the world.
See the one laying down there tomorrow, the Ukraine Over the Edge?
And that is actually, so right now what's happening, we don't have books on this conflict yet, right? Because it's just unfolding. But Russia and Ukraine have a long, complicated history. And of course we had Crimea in 2014. We had other things happening within our lifetime. It's just that it became sort of the normal that we're not thinking of as that unusual. But Ukraine has a long, vibrant culture. Somebody pointed out that Kiev was a vibrant city when Moscow was still a small village, right? Wow. And so, so it's a fascinating part of the world. Interesting people, and what we're seeing every day on the news is just amazing and invigorating, inspiring, right? And so, so wanting to know more, because we also, as everyday people, feel somewhat helpless. We're saying, what can we do? We can donate to a good cause that helps Ukrainians. But
you have a lot of female stories as well.
Oh, yes.
Women's work. What's this about?
Oh, it was everything we do.
I was going to say, women's work. Oh my goodness, it's only that thick? What?
Yeah, it's an overview, right?
Okay, yes.
So
it's the condensed version.
It's the Cliff Notes. And of course, when we think about women, women are everywhere and do everything, right? But sometimes we don't think of them so much. We have women leaders, right? And some of the biographies, I love reading biographies. They're like hearing a family story in a way, right? From people who have lived through certain things that we're interested in. Most people have probably heard of Picasso. How many people know that his first wife was an artist in her own right?
See, there you
right?
go. Yes.
And so she was quite amazing. There are women who've been in the sciences. We know we have had women in space flight. We've had women involved in just everything. And we don't always think of it that way, but it's also still true that it's a heavy lift, right? We know that even really accomplished women still are responsible for a lot of domestic work and so on. So we still have a ways to go.
Well, Tamara, I know that you kind of specialize in when people come in, they maybe if they're new to the world of reading, you can guide them a bit, or you have kind of, you know, my first guest had the mystery boxes. So you have a kind of mystery book. What do you call it?
We call it a blind date book.
The blind date, okay.
No dressing up, no choice between salad or steak, none of those things.
Okay.
Just something that comes in a plain paper print wrapper. And
so I take it home, and then I am delighted Usually,
And
you think?
you look at it and you say, oh, okay, what is this? Let me read it. And I have an enjoyable surprise and reading experience. Many of our customers buy it as gifts. Some customers come in and buy 3 or 4 at a time.
And so they're just wrapped in a plain wrapper, and you don't let them open it in the store?
No, they first have to purchase it, then it's theirs.
Yeah.
Sometimes people come and donate the book back, and we put it back as a used book on the shelf. So they have sometimes more than one life, but we have fiction and nonfiction, and we tried it and we thought, you know, if it doesn't fly, we'll just let it go.
I would say it's meant to be. If you get that book, then you're meant to read it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So it's the Artsy Bookworm there on 30th Street in Rock Island, and Tamara is just, she's so into what she does, and I think it's a really special niche that you have in our area. So we're very blessed to have you in our community and right here with us today, Tamara. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you again soon, okay?